Most mornings I step outside with a cup of coffee, just trying to wake up. But the other day, I noticed a yellow garden spider spinning its web between the railing and the wall. My first instinct was to clear it away, shoo it out to the woods. But instead, I stopped. I just watched. It worked methodically, thread by thread, patient in a way I wish I could be. And I realized this spider is building with the same persistence I try to bring to the shop. That tiny moment sparked the idea for this table. Stronger than a web, sure, but still carrying the same lesson: fragility and strength woven together. But here's the thing. What can a spider really teach us about building? Let's find out. Welcome to Knocking on Wood. 4/4 walnut was perfect for this build. I have to make a panel for the tabletop, and my joiner was down, so I built an L fence for my table saw and jointed it there. I highly recommend these panel clamps. These are the old school ones. They're really effective at building panels. Pro tip, that is the wrong way to wipe up your squeeze out. First wipe the bulk of your squeeze out away and then use a wet towel to do that. I know better, but I was hurrying. After the glue up, I want to do a quick sand with 120 grit just to take a look at the panel and see if there was any gaps in the glue up. I was also struggling to decide which was the top and which was the bottom. I designed the leg templates with the Shaper Origin. I will happily share the templates with you if you like and subscribe, and leave a comment with spider table somewhere in the sentence. I cut a miter in the templates for strength. I'm tracing out the templates with a wide line so it gives me room to shape them and for mistakes. I recommend when you're drawing lines on walnut, you use a brightly colored pen or pencil so they're easy to see. I'm cutting into rough shape with a jigsaw, and I also use a bandsaw later. You can use a jigsaw or a bandsaw to cut them close to the line. I use a bottom bearing template bit to cut one side, then I flip it over and use a top bearing bit for the other. The template bit got me close to the shape I want. But I went over to my crosscut sled to cut clean, crisp miters. A lot of times when you work with walnut, you'll have tear out at the router. On this project, I had a little more than I liked, so I used UV Cure resin to fill in those gaps. Safety first. Here I'm building up the layers of the epoxy. quick sand to get everything flat. I was asking a lot of that router bit on those corners there, but a lot of it I get it out later, you'll see. Here I'm marking lines for the floating tenons, and always make sure you label your pieces so you know what goes with what. Everybody's favorite tool, the Festool Domino, but when you have one, you'll realize how valuable it is. I decided to use the domino on this joint mostly to keep the miters straight and for some strength and stability. I thought about doing splines or half laps, but time was the essence for this project, and the domino got me there quickly. As you can see, it fits like a glove. Exactly why I use the domino. I sanded so much on this project. We cut out so much footage, but sanding and sanding and more sanding. Gotta get zen with it. I find a lot of times with using template bits, it leaves some marks that you need to sand it. For the miter glue up, I used a quick setting glue. Didn't have a ton of time. Didn't need a ton of time, honestly. Your domino miters, glue it up quick, clamp it, and you'll be ready to go. Wanted to get the shaping. Trimming the tabletop down to size. As you can see, my workshop assistant, my bald head. Probably why I have so many cuts on my head. If you measure corner to corner and your numbers are the same, that means you're perfectly square. As I got into this build, I kept thinking about how a spider's web looks delicate, but by weight, it's stronger than steel. That's the trick of it. Strengthen the connections. It's the same way with joinery. You can't just throw wood together and hope it'll hold. Every joint has to line up or the whole thing falls apart. And here's the part that stuck with me most. When something tears the web down, the spider doesn't sulk about it. It just builds again. That hit me hard because I've had projects collapse, and honestly, I've had seasons of life collapse on me too. Each time, it's been about picking up the pieces and getting back to the bench and starting again. Here I was testing edge profiles. I didn't really like any of these, as you see later. I made a previous comment about when you're marking walnut, use a contrasting color pen or pencil. Here I made that mistake. That's why you see me using a flashlight. Getting old in age and I can't see as well. And so I'm checking my lines over and over so I can make sure I'm lined up correctly. And especially when I'm looking through the domino, it's really hard to see. 2 per leg, mostly so they don't twist. A lot of times people use 1 and it ends up twisting as the glue dries. This will keep it from twisting. These legs, if they look a little spidery, that's no accident. It's my way of nodding back to the teacher that started this whole thing. So what do you do when your web or your project falls apart? Do you rebuild? Here I'm cutting a long chamfer on the tabletop. I wasn't really satisfied with the edge profile of the router, so I wanted something a little more dramatic. If you're not comfortable working with a table saw, I do not recommend trying this. You need to build a jig for it. I can supply those plans if you ask for it in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed. My little jig left some scratches. I reused some plywood, these holes. I just didn't think it through. Scratched the walnut. So as you can see, put some painter's tape. No more scratches. As you see, it leaves a really nice edge profile. And I've never done it before, so I wanted to try it. Repairing those scratches, this technique works really well. You wet your towel, you put it over the scratches, put the iron on almost high, practically high, and you let it sit there and you keep checking it so you don't scorch the wood, and it will erase most dents. Here I'm testing a thumbnail profile on the legs. I've used a thumbnail profile before on a chair I made long ago, and I wanted to try it on these legs. I think it would really work for the look I'm going for. So I'm using a 3/4 inch roundover bit and 2 push blocks for safety. As you see, more tear out. Was asking a lot of that big router bit. So all good, using my UV resin again. Flashing it with the UV flashlight, hardens instantly. And then I can reshape it either with a sander, or I can take it back over to the router table. So as you can see there, quite a bit of tear out, but after I finish it, more sanding and some more finish. Don't be afraid to try UV resin to fill in your holes and gaps. There's other techniques that I can share with you, but that one, when you're in a pinch, actually works really well. Couldn't recommend it enough. I generally really enjoy the glue up stage. This one went sideways a little bit. I made a mistake and I mislabeled my legs and the mortises, and so I had to do some musical chairs with the legs, but in the end it all came out great. This is the second time I've used this finish before. Big fan of it. It's a hard wax finish, so you have 2 parts, mix it together. Finishing always feels like a deep breath. Wiping it on, watching the grain come alive. It's like that moment when the morning light catches the web and you finally see the threads that you didn't notice before. And here's the thing. A storm did come through, and the spider and its web are gone. Just like that, fragile and temporary. But the table's still here, and maybe that's the lesson. Some things we build won't last, but it's worth building anyway. This spider taught me more than how to build a table. It reminded me to keep building, no matter what gets torn down. Because maybe the lesson isn't the table at all, but it's in the patience to build again. If you want to see what else I'm learning out here in the shop, stick around. There's always another story to build. That's it for today. There's plenty more to build, and it's not just in the shop. Give us a like and a subscribe. It really helps us out.